Hey guys, I decided to make a full economy guide, and when I say full economy guide, I'm mostly focusing on economy tactics for the early game. There'll be a little bit of late game economy advice towards the end, but late game economy is so dependent on what you're trying to build, um, and kind of what position you're in the game. I've given you some general advice about what to do in the mid to late game economy. General rule of thumb is if you're doing well, try and keep yourself above 50 gold at all times. But there is some advice there that hopefully will help you when you get to mid to late game. I'm going to mostly focus on how to build an economy. And when I say an economy, I mean the gold income that you've got. Remember, I'm going to go through the basic rules of economy, and then I'm going to talk about some of the strategies you can use to build a good economy in the game. So, apart from that, if any of you have been aware, League of Legends has just announced that they are making auto chess game mode. I have been told that 3 to 5 other big studios are considering an auto chess type game. I'm expecting that one of those is probably going to be something like Supercell. So we'll see, how many of those enter the mobile market. If you're interested what I think, I'm happy to make a video on it. I'm very likely going to play the League of Legends auto chess quite a lot because I'm a big League of Legends player. For those of you that don't know, I started my entire gaming career in League of Legends. But if you want my thoughts on kind of what I think that's going to do to shape up the auto chess industry, I'm very happy to share my thoughts. My YouTube will mostly be focused on the mobile versions of auto chess because I'm mostly a mobile gamer in terms of the way that I do my YouTube. But I probably will, if you are interested, cover the League of Legends auto chess version as well because I'm really, really, really into auto chess and really into League of Legends. So it's like combining the two. So yeah, those are my thoughts. If you are interested, I can make a video on it. Otherwise, this is a full economy guide from the early game up towards some late game advice. And it's very text-based. I've mainly done it to allow for subtitles for people who don't speak English and can read English better. So it's not quite as entertaining as having some gameplay. But it's very, very useful advice. And Rupert is... You can hear him. He's trying to do a poo. Alright, Rupert, before you make any more noises, enjoy the guide. Hey guys, so like I said, this is going to be mainly text-based with a lot of kind of subtitles. We're going to focus on the basic economy for the time being, and that will kind of get you to grips with exactly how much money you make, irrespective of the kind of strategy that you take. So there's a base gold that you earn every round. This is gold that you get regardless of whether you win or lose, regardless of win streaks or loss streaks. From rounds 1 to 4, that is +1 to +4 gold respectively. And round 5 onwards, you get 5 gold for every round that completes for the rest of the game. So your base income will always be 5 gold, irrespective of what happens. So obviously this isn't the only type of gold that you get. There is also something called a win and loss streak. Now, win and loss streaks build up over the course of rounds depending on whether, surprise, surprise, you win or lose them. A win or loss streak of 3 to 5 rounds nets you 1 gold. A win or loss streak of 6 to 8 rounds nets you +2 gold. And a win or loss streak of 9 rounds plus will net you 3 golds. If you continue to win for the entirety of the game, you're going to get 3 gold every round maximum. If you continue to lose the rest of the game, you're going to die, but before that you get +3 gold if you get beyond 9 losses. And again, these form pretty important strategies that we're going to talk about from that early game, and they'll carry you through towards the mid to late game. Have a look at interest gold. This is something that some people struggle to understand. Every 10 gold you currently have grants you +1 gold. This is true up to 50 gold, so you'll never earn more than +5 interest gold. At 10 gold, you're going to make 1 extra gold. If you currently have 20 gold, you're going to make 2 extra gold. If you currently have 30 gold, you're going to make 3 extra gold. 40 gold, you guessed it, 4 extra gold, and then 50, 60, 70, 80, and all the way up to the cap of 100, you'll earn no more than +5 extra interest gold. When we talk about breakpoints in this video, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 gold are all considered breakpoints because they give you that extra interest gold on the round completion. You also gain +1 gold for a victorious round. That is, whenever you beat someone in a chess round, you're going to get +1 gold. Also, it's worth noting, selling chess pieces give you a full refund based on their level. Their level is not the number of stars that they've got, neither is it their true cost. Selling a 1 cost piece will get you 1 gold back, and selling a 5 gold piece will get you 5 gold back. But if you combine them, it's slightly different. If you combine them, it doesn't naturally. It's like 2 cost pieces is not naturally going to give you 4 gold back, or 2 3 cost pieces is not naturally going to give you 6 gold back. I've put a little table on the next page so we can see what we're talking about. The theoretical maximum gold per turn after round 5 is 14 gold, and the minimum gold per turn is 5 gold. So I'm going to explain this table to you below. I'm not going to explain everything, but what you can see here is a 1 cost unit at 1 star sells for 1 gold, a 1 cost unit at 2 stars sells for 3 gold, and a 1 cost unit at 3 stars sells for 5 gold because it sells at its unit level. Hopefully you can work out the rest of the table from that. It also shows you the damage that they deal to chess pieces, which is another really interesting thing that not a lot of people know. So feel free to pause and have a look at that table. But let's have a look at the early game economy. So you have 3 options. The first option is win streaking. Pretty obvious. You aim to generate an income through win streaking, which will allow you to level up early while still maintaining a good economy. It is the ideal scenario that any auto chess player wants to find themselves. You can usually do this when you find a lot of good early 2-star units. There are some good synergies to win streak with. Warriors, Cave Clan, Goblin, Mechs, Assassins, and Knights, if you get the synergies and get the units, are all good synergies to attempt to win streak with, as they are pretty good early game, as well as Beasts, obviously, too. They can go with Warriors. You want to be level 5 by rounds 4 to 5, you want to be level 6 by round 9, you want to be at least level 7 by round 15, and you can even push to level 8 when you have the opportunity. It's called leveling on curve. It's maintaining your win streak advantage. You don't want to give up that extra gold that you're getting per turn because someone else has leveled up before you, so make sure you're always checking about who has leveled up and whether you need to follow that up too. You can roll early if you have collected pairs that you want to upgrade, and you can roll early if you feel like you need a certain unit or upgrade to maintain your win streak. Again, win streaking is about maintaining that win streak, and you don't have to worry too much about getting to 50 gold if you are currently continuing to maintain a +3 gold advantage on a win streak every turn. It's all about leveling and rolling to maintain that win streak, and then when you get towards round 20, you're starting to think about building that economy up towards 50 gold if you haven't already. You need to check your opponent's levels all the time. Keep an eye on their units and their levels. If someone is potentially going to contest you and end your win streak, you have to be ready to try and either utilize your gold to level up or find a unit upgrade that will help you beat them. You need to make sure if you're being caught up in terms of power, that you start to utilize that win streak to build an economy. If you're starting to see the rest of the board catch up with you, just start thinking about building an economy over trying to upgrade your units. Much, much better at that point to go for 50 gold. If you have a really strong level 6 or level 7 composition, you can try to build your economy to 50 gold ASAP. Win streaking is this is a safe strategy, so building 50 gold ASAP is a safe strategy that will cushion you if you end up losing between rounds 13 and 20 and losing your win streak bonus. So some people like to basically cut the cord on their win streak at around round 14, 15 and say, okay, this is when I'm going to build my economy, so that if you do end up losing in the mid game, you're not punished as hard for it because you still have that economy to work with. You either build good early game synergies such as Beast Warriors and snowball with your level lead, or you can use the win streak to build into a powerful late game team like Knights, Hunters, or Mages. Essentially, you make the decision there. Beasts are a really good way to compound your advantage because any summons that your beasts bring to the table also deal extra damage to your opponents. Remember, although your composition might fall off, the more damage that you deal to your opponents in the early game, the more likely they get knocked out by other people as the game advances. Okay, so that's win streaking. Let's talk about the next option, which you may have guessed is the complete opposite. This is called lose streaking. The aim is to generate 50 gold total income as quickly as possible whilst taking the least amount of damage possible. It's a very difficult tactic to balance, but it is very powerful. It allows you to build a very good economy, and if you are able to manage your HP and keep yourself above 60 or even 50 by the time that you reach 50 gold, you've got so much HP to work with. You are essentially trading your HP as a resource for the economy. It is the most consistent strategy to build an income from, but it has some downsides that you need to be aware of. These downsides can be pretty tricky to navigate, and sometimes there are just situations where lose streaking will be nigh on impossible, simply because of certain elements of the game, which mean it makes it very difficult for you to commit to this as a consistent strategy. So some of the downsides that we need to look at, it's hard to regulate damage taken. You may take a lot of damage. You may get up to 50 gold and find that you have none of the units that you actually want, or you just can't find the units that build into a late game composition. And once you reach 50 gold, you have about 4 to 5 turns after hitting there to get a good lineup on the board. Otherwise, you're just going to take too much damage, and that's probably going to put you in an awkward position going into the end of the game. It's also important to note that it is difficult to lose streak when someone else is lose streaking, because if they are lose streaking and then they just lose harder than you and you end up facing them, they kill your lose streak. By winning a game, it absolutely cuts your lose streak in half, and it's just not a good way to play. You can lose streak if you aren't finding any good 2-star units, synergies, or pairs early on. Good synergies to have on board when lose streaking are spirits, and specifically stone and water, and also warriors. The reason I didn't include Thunder Spirit is because it's actually quite a good unit, and Thunder Spirit might actually end up winning you rounds. So you've got to be very aware of the fact that that unit is actually pretty good. But in general, spirits are a really good unit to have on board, especially for the neutral rounds. It is important to know that facing up against the golems and the wolves, you want to have spirits on board, because if you don't have a strong lineup, they're going to help you at least minimize the damage taken from those rounds. You should be aim to be at about 50 gold by rounds 10 to 13 at best. You can buy units that contribute to your late game strategy, but avoid buying unnecessary units, and don't bother investing gold in levels. Try to play around interest gold and hitting those breakpoints that we talked about in the early game. If you have a unit that you don't think is going to be relevant for you, and you can sell it to get above one of those 10 gold thresholds, you should do it to make sure you get that extra gold on board going into the next round. Remember, it's all about just losing, but minimizing the damage taken. You need to put the bare minimum on board to maybe kill 1 or 2 of the opponent's enemy units, but you do not want to win a round. Do not win a round. Always have a late game plan in mind. You should be going for a big late game build like Hunters, Glacier Knight, or Mages. And once you are level 7 to 8, make sure you roll aggressively so you don't get knocked out before you can even bring that composition online. I find it most consistent to lose streak into something like Knights, unless they are very popular in the early game. Things like Hunters and Mages can be very difficult if you haven't built an early frontline for them. So I always find it most consistent to go into Knights. I think it's or Dragon Knights specifically, or even Glacier Clan Knights, because it generally turns out to be a very consistent strategy once I've lost streaked. There is one more strategy to talk about that I think we should cover very briefly. It's not one that I would recommend doing much, and it's something that was more popular in the PC version, and it's called Open Fort. This is the ultimate lost streak strategy. The aim is to field absolutely no units and to buy absolutely no units. You buy for the neutral rounds at 1 to 4 so you don't lose those rounds, but then you sell those units off. And you can get to 50 gold by around 10 to 12, depending on if you don't buy. Don't break through the threshold gold. You can buy as long as you're above that threshold gold, like 20 gold, 30 gold, but don't buy below that. And essentially, it's very similar to a lose streak, but you lose much, much, much more HP in a trade for a much quicker economy. The game is a total gamble if you play Open Fort. You can absolutely dominate once you get to 50 gold, but if you don't find the right units, you're just going to die, because you just won't be able to field a strong enough lineup. And you have about, again, 4 rounds after you hit 50 gold to make sure that you're fielding something strong, as well as leveling up to a relevant level. So be aware that it's a very risky strategy. What to do if you're middling? This is the worst situation to be in, especially if you're losing more than you're winning. And middling means winning and losing, not building a streak in either direction. The best way to get out of this is to try to build pairs and roll for unit upgrades where possible. It doesn't matter what pairs, it doesn't matter what synergies, just get some 2-star units on the board. You want to stabilize and build an economy as quickly as possible, and you want to try and catch up to 50 gold with the win streakers and the lose streakers. Just attempt to be conservative, but make sure you get those 2-star units on the board and you're building an economy. Mid-late game economy, and this is going to be a brief section of the video because it's so diverse what you can do. This is where your decisions will impact your overall game strategy the most. You need to think about your composition. What are you building and what do you need from it? For instance, if you are playing 6 Hunters, Goblin Mech, or anything that relies on a Legendary, which is a 5-cost unit, you need to power level to 9, which requires a good economy. So you need to think about getting that economy above 50 gold, making sure that you're investing as much as you can into experience without losing too many rounds. And then once you get to level 9, you can roll for that Legendary that's going to help complete your composition. Otherwise, you can just keep yourself above 50 gold, like I said, roll above 50 gold, find upgrades, look for 2 stars, and just trying to invest in experience when you can. Obviously, I talked about the fact that you can level to level 8 aggressively. Some people do that. The other way is leveling 8 conservatively, just making sure that every round after 50 gold, you're just investing your interest into the levels. If you have a build that works before that, at level 8, you should focus on rolling to upgrade as many of your pieces to 2-star as possible. Don't go 3-star hunting. That can be a massive gold sink. 2 stars are really good to get on the board in the mid-game. Just make sure that you're investing in trying to get 2 stars there. If you're close to death, which a lot of you might find that you are, especially if you've lost streaked, if you're less than 20 HP and you have above 50 gold, blast that gold in either leveling up or trying to roll for upgrades as much as physically possible. That is, a do or die situation when you're 20 HP or below. You just need to find something that's going to keep you alive, and that might be leveling up to get a new unit on the board, and that might be finding that 2-star Dragon Knight, that 2-star Berserker. You just need to roll and pray to RNG that you're going to get those lucky rolls in the late game. But in general, a good rule of thumb for late game is keep yourself above 50 gold as much as humanly possible. Utilize the extra gold that you get on a round-by-round basis to roll for units and level up, and that should keep you in a comfortable position. Alright guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this economy guide. I think it was fairly in-depth, and again, I try to do one in-depth video a week, and this will be my in-depth video on economy. I'll try and do one every Tuesday. Most of the time it'll be gameplay. And like I said, if you're interested in my thoughts on the League of Legends and other auto chess games being released, then please let me know.